Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Last April, the Meehan Family Food Group acquired the Wexford-based business Scallans Food Service. The CEO of the group, Richard Meehan, joins me now to discuss this deal and what it will mean for Scallans' growth prospects. Richard, before we discuss this particular deal, perhaps you can tell us about your background and what attracted you into the food service industry.
Yeah, Carl, thanks. I went straight out of university into Lidl. Lidl had just arrived into Ireland in 2001, giving young graduates great opportunities to get into management and get the keys of the business at a very young age. And I was very lucky to get in at that stage. I had a long 13-year career in Lidl in various positions in management, mostly in the financial side of it, but I got a broad look at the whole business. And from there, I decided that entrepreneurship after 13 years is where I wanted to go in the next stage of my career.
So, Richard, on deciding to set up the Meehan Family Food Group, what did you do to prepare yourself for entering the food service sector, a sector which was dominated by a small number of very large providers?
Before I came into the industry, I had to do a little bit of figuring out. I didn't understand it all. What I did understand was how to do a food and logistics model very, very well. I was trained by Lidl and worked with Lidl and developed it myself. I spent the first 2 or 3 months researching the industry in detail. I looked at things like the Board Beer reports. I looked at the groups who were buying off the larger players, the Palaces, the Musgraves, and I looked at where the gaps were in the market. So that took me a couple of months. And what I realised very, very quickly was there was no silver bullet service out there for the restaurant or hotel. There were large players, there were small players, but there was nobody in the middle that was delivering a high quality service business, and that's where I decided to capitalise my plan.
So what do you mean by a silver bullet service?
Well, what does the restaurateur or the hotelier want? They want to get the product that they want on time in one delivery at the right price. And you have two ends of the spectrum. You have price and then you have service. And there are disparities depending on where you are in the market and what you can get.
And is that restaurateur interested in paying the price for service?
It's a price-sensitive market, no doubt about it. Every restaurateur or publican or hotelier is looking at their net margin. However, there is a component of the overall picture that's down to service.
Now, you have very ambitious plans for the Meehan Family Food Group, but how do you go about identifying the businesses that you want to acquire?
I have a couple of key characteristics of businesses that actually look good to me. First of all, a good reputation and a long-standing reputation in a locality is very, very important. People build up relationships with businesses, whether you're in restaurant tourism or in any other business, over the years. So a good family business with a good reputation is key. 2, the size of the business is important. In terms of turnover, somewhere between 2 and 6 million makes a lot of sense to me. Less than 20 staff generally. And core to it all is the ability to add more to the rest of the group with their core competencies.
So perhaps you can provide us with an insight into your acquisition process once you identify a particular food service business that you want to take over.
First, I don't have a blueprint, Carl. Okay, I have an idea about how to go about it, and in the last 2.5 years there have been 5 deals done, but there's no one blueprint. With every family, with every business, there's a dynamic and there's a piece of individualism. There are a finite number of food service businesses in the country. They're all out there in catalogues and lists, and you can do your identification very, very quickly. First of all, I have my own list, which I update every year. I look for a business that I think has plateaued in terms of its ability to grow in the current form. I look for a business that would embrace some change. I like to keep the families, the teams, the management in play and come in with our acumen, our systems, our structure, our vision to grow the business. These are some of the key attributes that I look for.
And would you subscribe to the view that you may be weakening your hand if you initiate the acquisition negotiation?
That's an interesting view. I would subscribe to it, but I don't always initiate the negotiations.
Now, did you find that you were competing against many others when you were negotiating the 5 acquisitions that you've already completed?
Carl, you know this from business. Timing is everything. And in the last 2.5 years, there actually weren't many other competitors to me acquiring businesses. I picked the time. I thought it was the right space to go after putting together a group of independent businesses. However, in the last 3 months, the whole market has heated up, and it seems that everybody who can do an acquisition is out there looking for one at the moment.
So once you've completed the acquisition of a food service business, what happens next?
Very first thing is we introduce ourselves to all of the staff. And when I say we, it's me and the rest of my management team. And we let the staff know, guys, we're here to try and improve the business and grow it. It's very, very simple. Over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks, feet under the table in a very basic and simple way, and try and assist the management, spot where there may be areas of improvement that we could get into straight away. But crucially, we get into the segmented supply verticals. We put in new ranges of product into that business immediately so that the existing sales team can service their customers, whether it's Wexford, Kildare, Dublin, better immediately.
Now, if you've just tuned in, I'm speaking to Richard Meehan from the Meehan Family Food Group. Now, you said that once an acquisition is done, one of the first things that you do is you extend the product range being offered by that food service provider. What types of product do you add to their range?
Karl, the vision for the business and where we are at the moment after a couple of years is we're a total turnkey solution for the restaurant. So anything in the supply chain that a restaurant or a hotel needs, we will supply that. In Scallans' case, for example, Scallans were a frozen heavy distributor. Mostly frozen food was what they were selling. Whereas in Dublin, we would have 4,500 lines of ambient product, dried goods, drinks, non-food, cleaning products. These are lines of product that you can easily bring in to the mix, to the customer base in Wexford, introduce it in a value-led type of approach and start to sell at the customer's pace.
Richard, one of the associated challenges with any growing business is, of course, the growth pains. How do you manage those?
First up, I don't try and deal with them myself or all of them. I have a great team of senior management and staff around me. Lists help. Secondly, Karl, I'm a list-based type person. I also try and involve all of the stakeholders in the key decisions. Okay, I think if you bring the people along with you, no matter who they are in the business, the long-term success of whatever you're trying to change or growth pain you're trying to get over, you'll have more success.
And from a recruitment perspective, I firmly believe that it's essential to recruit individuals that not only enter the business with their heads, but they also bring their hearts. In your opinion, how can this be achieved?
It starts with respect. Respect for anybody who's joining your business or who's in the business. I don't think you can achieve anything with anybody if there's not genuine respect. Second, you have to remunerate and encourage accordingly. We're post-recession mostly in Ireland at this stage, and there is a challenge on remuneration packages, but you have to be rewarding for serious levels of work and commitment.
Now, the Meehan Family Food Group recently acquired Scallans Food Service in Wexford. What attracted you to this particular business?
Scallans for 40 odd years had an excellent reputation, and anywhere you looked, or I looked in my period of time in food service, I came up with the Scallans name as a very, very reputable trading partner. Scallans have a turnover size that was in the zone that I would look at. Crucially, actually, in the southeast, I saw a gap in the market between where the larger players and others used to service it very, very well, for their own reasons, seem to have retracted a little bit in terms of the level of service and dedication they're putting into the area. So combining the Scallans brand and the name with the gap I saw in the market, that made it sensible for me to have a look at Scallans.
So what is the plan for Scallans from a growth and job creation perspective?
Well, growth is first up. I think we're already up in double digits since April, since we took over the business. I plan to grow the business twofold within the next 3 years. And to do that, you're going to need more people. We have ambitious plans in terms of the products we're going to sell into the southeast region, but also we're going to develop the site where Scallans has been situated in Whitemill for quite a while. There'll be additional storage space. We are going to grow the size of our retail component there, and we're on a good 3-year growth plan.
And as you were buying up a lot of independent businesses such as Scallans, do you plan to continue to operate them independently with their own names, or to merge them into the larger Meehan Family Food Group?
These businesses will all continue to transact in their own names, and the people in Scallans, the staff, the salespeople who deal with customers in the southeast will continue to do that. The Meehan Family Food Group is effectively a corporate name, just to explain to people that there's a group of businesses together and there's a little bit more firepower behind an independent.
And what's the plan for the overall group over the next 5 years?
I have a strategic plan that involves a level of turnover which would be in around the 30 million mark. We're not far off that at the moment, but it's early days in our plans. We're only 2 years into this plan. I want to build a business for my own family and for the senior management in the team, who are going to be the long-term people who will deliver the growth here. And they're the two core things for me.
And I often ask this question, Richard, to people that are on the acquisition trail. Are you building this to keep it or building it to sell it?
Absolutely building it to keep it.
Final question for you this morning. Are you interested in hearing from other independent food service providers that may be interested in selling out?
Absolutely. I think there's a level of business that it becomes very, very difficult for the smaller independent trader to operate successfully and profitably. The door's open. You know, I think we've been a bit of a go-to player in the market for the last 2-3 years. We're not going to continue to buy businesses forever. What we want to do is consolidate what we have and build it organically. But the door's always open, Karl.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
South